We're standing at 121 East Market Street in Maybank, Texas, which is a small town in East Texas. And this building here, which is today a dance studio, used to be a general store. This is a historic property because of Bonnie and Clyde. And Janet's going to tell you more about it right now.
Man, they got in trouble out here, guys. I mean, Bonnie and Clyde got around, but it was Bonnie and Clyde and Ralph Fultz, a buddy of theirs. And they came in the evening of April 18th, 1932, way back, to rob this store. Well, anyway, Chief of Police David Drennan saw them. So they had to run out and get in a car, which they believe was stolen from Tyler, okay? Another stolen car. They stole cars all the time. And they took off. Well, when I understand, when they took off, it had been raining, and out by Cedar Creek, it got stuck in the mud. All right, since that car with kaput, you know, is stuck in the mud at Cedar Creek. So they went to the Rogers farm and they stole 2 mules. That's hilarious. Can you see these 3, Bonnie and Clyde on a mule and Ralph on a mule? And supposedly one of the mules was known to be rambunctious, would kick and buck. And anyway, Ralph knew how to handle that mule, apparently. And he used to be in rodeos, apparently. But they took off on the mules, and then they get to Kemp and they steal another car. Here they are stealing cars like crazy. Okay, they go take off in this car and it runs out of gas. So they have to go on foot. They're on foot. They're being chased by the Coffin area police, the Maybank police. They had a whole posse chasing them. Okay, so here they are, and they get surrounded. Okay, in the gunfight, Ralph gets shot in the arm. One article said it was the hand, but I confirmed it. I think it's the arm. He got hit in the arm. He was had an automatic weapon, pistol on him. They confiscated. Bonnie didn't have a weapon. Clyde got away. Clyde got away. I can't believe that. He left Bonnie. That's no good. But anyway, they got Bonnie and they got Ralph. But they didn't give them their real names. No. Bonnie went by Betty Thornton and said she was from Dallas, okay? And there's an article that says, oh, a little bobbed hair blonde that's littler than 100 pounds, and her name was Betty Thornton. Okay, she's supposed to be like 23. Okay, now Ralph gave the name of Sherman. So he was saying his name was Sherman, and he was from Tulsa. So, and he was 27, but he was injured. So they took him to Kemp, to this jail. And we're going to go find it. So, okay, so let's go ahead there and we'll tell you more, okay?
All right, real quick before we head to Kemp, let's take a look at this building. Today it's a dance studio. That's not open today. Today's a Monday, they're closed today, but this is the inside of the building. So it was a good sized general store for the time period. And it actually looks like it still has the original tile ceiling. 10 tiles.
And this was the Robert H. Bach store?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So we were able to match this store up using old photos. Because none of the stories have none of the newspaper stories have the exact address of the store. It just said it was in downtown Maybank. But we did find some old photos, and we're able to match it up with the photos.
This is a neat little town square.
Yeah, and the way we were able to match this up was this building right here next to it being white, and this one having an orange facade, kind of an orangish beige facade up above. And the canopy, the unique type of what would you call those, not cable system that holds the canopy up. We were able to line up the pieces there. There are some similar buildings on this side of the street over here, but they have windows above the canopy, so those obviously weren't the original building, and this has to be it right here.
It does.
So
I mean, that's pretty cool.
yeah. All right, guys, we're on our way to Kemp, and between Maybank, where we were, and Kemp in 1932 was Cedar Creek. Cedar Creek was where Bonnie and Clyde got their car mired in the mud, and this today is where Cedar Creek was. Today it's Cedar Creek Reservoir. I think it's actually a reservoir for Lake Kemp, but right in this area somewhere is where they got mired in the mud along with their partner in crime. And then it was not too far from this area. It could have been right here where the water is today, where Roger's farm was, where they stole 2 mules and made their way into Kemp. So, and we're right off of I-175 in East Texas. This is it right over here. There's a bridge right here where the creek used to be. So anyhow, we thought we'd stop and show you this little area, because this is probably more what it looked like back then than the main highway that we're driving to Kemp on. So it was a very overgrown and rustic area, I'm sure. Okay, we are standing at 220 South Main Street in Kemp, Texas. And this building right here, although it is, it may be abandoned, it looks like it's probably abandoned. This building here may have been a hardware store in 1932 when Bonnie and Clyde were here, because right up here on the side of the building there's some old signage that says KHAR. So it's, you know, you can see where the K started here, the name of the business, and then probably hardware underneath it. This facade here has been added, or this roof line's been added at a later date, but this appears to have been an old hardware store. Now, right behind this hardware store on South Main between 10th Street and 11th Street is the Kemp Calaboose. Now, Calaboose is a name for a type of jail. It's an old single cell jail that they would use in smaller towns that didn't have the funds to create a large jail system or a large jail building. And you can see Janet's right over here in front of the old jail, and this was the jail cell where Bonnie Parker spent an evening with this
Ralph Fultz.
with Ralph Fultz, who was injured at the time after the robbery attempt. And let's see here, scary looking little building, man. We'll go inside here, and they've got a marker here in front of it that says, I hope you guys can see that, Kemp Calaboose. Built in the early 1900s, the calaboose was used to jail offenders of the law. It is legended that Bonnie Parker of Bonnie and Clyde fame and one other member of the Barrow gang were held here in 1932. And this was the wonderful living quarters that they shared that evening. Pretty grim, huh, guys? And it's kind of amusing to think that Bonnie, less than 100 pounds, was really that big of a threat, but apparently she was. And there's stories here that were written in the papers that a lot of the town folk, this was a big event for them to come down here and view the convicts, view the outlaws. So a lot of the town folk came down here to see him. Some of them actually brought some food down to him, tried to keep him as comfortable as they could, but Bonnie was not in a happy mood, and apparently she would spit in the face of some of the people that were here to view him. And there's actually a story where one girl said that her father was really amused by the fact that Bonnie had stood up to her mom and spit in her face because nobody else had ever done that.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, but it's a pretty scary little jail.
Yeah.
And we'll walk around and see the outside of it here. It's in this little fenced-in area. Boy, what a horrific place to have to stay, though. Scary. And now, today, this jail kind of resides in an alley behind Main Street. Yeah, old wrought iron windows.
I wonder what these were for. I mean, there's one on each side.
I have no idea.
There's a little power pole there.
Maybe if you turn them all the way up, maybe it was a signage that they had on top or something. I don't know.
Wow. Everybody wanted to see Bonnie, huh?
Yeah.
The famous Bonnie. Wow.
I couldn't imagine being stuck in a place like this. And one of the interesting things that I found about this was I was surprised that they actually housed a male and a female in the same jail cell together.
Well, they hung out together apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way
And he was fairly badly injured from what we understand, with a bullet wound to his arm or hand, so.
Yeah, his arm. Yeah, the way they got captured here, you know, they had the mules, rode the mules like 5 miles here, but they stole Dr. Scarborough's car here. And then they were leaving town, right, trying to get out of here, right? It ran out of gas in like a mile. And that's when they were surrounded out here in Kemp by all the posse. And there's a guy named Junior, let's see, what his name was? Junior Leg. Yeah, that was on the posse that was doing an interview about how they captured him and how he got shot in the arm and they brought him here. And he was part of the posse, but he lived here in Kemp. And then they stayed here, and then they were transferred to Kaufman County facilities, which isn't that far away, I don't think.
Now the gunfight happened, what, about a mile from here then, right?
Yeah, not too
That's
far.
where he was shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
we don't know how Clyde got away. He got away on foot somehow.
Yeah.
And which I found kind of strange, because there was several times it appears that Bonnie pretty much, or not Bonnie, but Clyde pretty much abandoned Bonnie in gunfights and took off to save himself.
Right.
So.
But yeah, they didn't know their names at first. They found out later. Bonnie said her name was Betty Thornton, and Ralph Fultz actually said his name was Jack Sherman from Tulsa. But it's funny thinking them riding mules.
Now this camera is the way it's set up. It's adding light to this jail cell. I can see the inside of this jail cell much better in the back of my camera than I can with my naked eye. This is actually a very dark and dank room. So as I pull the camera away, you'll see it gets dark instantly when I back the camera up. So
Yeah.
Interesting place. They still have the original jail door, and still appears to be in a working condition. So
Is there a place for a light in there? Because it looks like it's got a little power pole.
let me see. I don't see one up there. I don't see one. Now there is a hole in the back wall. So I don't know if they had a sink in there at one time or what, but...
Yeah, it's a hole, huh? But see this pole up here?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there definitely was electrical running to it at one time.
Or is it? Yeah.
Oh, that's electrical.
And look, this old pole here, old phone pole.
Mm-hmm. Look, there's another one of those arms too on this side.
I saw
There's
it.
2 of them over here.
Right, I don't know. And there's a, Wait, no, I thought maybe attached to something. Wow.
I don't know either. You know, I think they probably went up to the top though, because see how you're missing bricks on that side there?
And the other side.
And here too. Of course, this is here. Let's see if there's one on the corner over here. Used to be. If any of you guys know what that may have been for, let us know, because that's interesting. That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's like they stood up and maybe something attached across.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what for.
That's weird.
The purpose. Figure it out someday. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was great, coming out here to the Kemp Calaboose and finding all these locations where they, were involved in and how they got captured. The Bonnie and Clyde, they got around a lot. And I love going and finding out about the history of them. It's amazing.
Strange RV tours will take you places with Greg and Janet's smiling faces. You might see a crazy flavored soda review or some tips to fit your RV too. So come along, won't you join us, friend, as we discover what's around the bend. Just sit right back in your easy chair. Strange RV Tours is on the air. Strange RV Tours is on